just wanted to do a follow-up on the Tesla truck sighting. So got a good look at it, wanted to give you guys my review, a couple of the high points, a couple of the low points, and everything what I observed from just walking around it. I looked up a little bit of the stats, but I have to admit, did not look up everything. And the reason why I am filming right by my Shelby Daytona today is to show you guys I am a big fan of gasoline cars, but I'll tell you what, these electric cars and trucks, they have their place. So the 600-pound or 3,400-pound elephant in the room is how much does it weigh? Well, the guy that was hauling it told me 34,000. Now a regular day cab, was a day cab, is 17 to 18,000. Now, I was also told it's not anywhere near that. The Tesla truck is actually closer to 24, something around there. I may have misheard the driver, but that's what I heard from what the guy who's hauling it said. Like I said, I may have misheard 34,000, but man, if it's 34,000, can't get much of a payload on there. So we'll see with that. Next biggest thing obviously is the range. Now everybody saw that video and it looked pretty legitimate that it did 500 miles, 81,000 pounds. I'm assuming they give you a little bit of grace for an electric truck, extra weight. So I'm really curious if he was hauling like a full 44,000 pound load like they usually do. But I'll give him that. He went up and down the Grapevine, LA traffic and everything. 500 miles and 8 hours without charging. I'll give him that. I wonder how fast he was going though. If that was just going 50, 55 miles. Well, obviously it was 55 probably because it was in California. So I wonder what it'd do at 70. But if it's as aerodynamic as they're claiming, and I'll tell you what, a box trailer, people fought me on this, a box trailer will get better fuel mileage than a flatbed. So I wonder how much range it would have with a flatbed or a tanker, having a lot more turbulence. But yeah, I definitely believe that 500-mile test there. One of the other points of contention I have is the interior with the Tesla truck. Now, this is the interior of the Daytona. Obviously, I'm sitting on the left side, but on the Tesla truck, you sit in the middle there. Now, a lot of people say it's great for visual and everything, being able to see everything in front of you, and I'm sure it is. But my thing is, you can't trust those mirrors, or in the Tesla truck's case, it will have cameras. I think most, or if not all, trucks are going to go to cameras instead of mirrors, which poses another problem. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But the problem with having the seat in the middle, I'm sure you got great, visual all around while you're driving. But I guess they didn't, ask, it makes it easy for Elon Musk to drive it. But us out here in the real world, when I'm backing into a construction zone or an alley dock or whatever, you can't 100% trust those mirrors. A lot of times you gotta look out and even open the door and look out while you're backing up. Gives you a lot better perspective. And so I really wonder how that's going to work out. It'll probably be good for, 50% of the drivers that don't use that technique for some reason. And it always boggles my mind. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the central seating position. But it is what it is. We'll see how it plays out in the real world. I like this Coyote engine in my Daytona. It has plenty of power and plenty of torque to pull the hills and get you from 0 to 60 in 20 seconds, which is unheard of. Usually in a truck it takes about a minute and a half or so, somewhere around there. So it's definitely got the power, it's definitely got the torque, and I'm about to tell you about the other thing I am really looking forward to about it that nobody's talking about. Unlike the Daytona, or unlike the Tesla truck, this Daytona has a clutch-type posi-traction rear end, which means that it'll give send the power to distribute evenly to both the wheels, or the one that has the most amount of torque. or traction at the time. So that is actually a really nice feature, but let me tell you what, that is 1960s technology here. Because what the Teslas do, and most electric vehicles have the capability of doing it, especially if they're all-wheel drive. Now, we saw in the video that both the drive axles can be driven, and it looked to have traditional rear ends. So I'm not 100% sure, but an electric vehicle should be able to distribute a precise amount of torque to all four wheels, so that traction control is really sophisticated. So it's going to give exactly as much power needed to whatever wheel has however much traction. And I'm wondering if they're integrating that into the new truck. And it doesn't look like it, because like I said, it has a traditional differential setup. It looked like from all the images and the one that I saw. But at least it will be able to send power to the front and rear axles differently, depending on the slippery situation. So I'd really like to hear more about that. That's one real big thing I'm looking forward to. I'm sure it has a very sophisticated traction control system, anti-lock brake system, and I'd love to hear about that. I'm sure it uses a regenerative braking also in the anti-lock braking system, so it can give just enough torque, decrease in torque to each wheel. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's one of the biggest things that I think is really cool about it. So that's basically my video here. That's highs and lows of the Tesla truck. Thought the interior looked pretty sweet. It didn't look completely finished, so I'm sure it was just a prototype. But the interior looked pretty cool. I like the screens. I like the idea that we're going to cameras, even though earlier I said not. I think that's going to reduce a lot of drag, but it's going to be a transition. And I like to see how all the testing is. I've seen a couple test trucks that have the cameras on them, and I'm really wanting to talk to the drivers. I'll get back at you with that. And we'll just see the updates on the Tesla truck, man. I'm really looking forward to this. And I think there's definitely a place for them in the industry.